All right. Take one. You ready for this, wifey?
We running one take. You could cut.
Well, are you ready for this?
Am I?
Yeah.
I was born ready.
You born? All right. So this video, I'm making this video because I decided that, look, I'm just gonna bring some behind the scenes of my trip to Barbados. Right now, I'm currently in Barbados, and I made it. I'm here with the family, all the females that I spoke about. The energy is real. I'm not completely worn down yet, but
give me 2 days.
2 days. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna have to sugar rise and vitamin D. That should get me going. You know, lots of sun,
lots of sunshine,
and lots of walks. That should help. I don't think the pool helped me today though, because I was in the winter for many months, and I haven't had in the cold winter, and I haven't had this feeling. Now I feel it if I'm, you know,
maybe it's coming out. Know that you get some rest.
You think it's coming out?
Yeah, when you get rest, your body, like, you know, all the pent up sickness that was in there just starts to flood out when your body relaxes. Good point. Interesting. I never thought about it that way. Yeah. But I like your take on it. That's a positive spin to it, I guess. So I'm here really. We're just gonna take. I guess I'm gonna take some questions from my wife, and you know, we'll see how she's doing on this questionnaire about my little trip to Barbados and to spend some time back home, and also to witness the Barbados Gold Cup in 2025. So fire away. What you got? What do you want to ask? Well, how did this passion for horse racing even start? There are a lot of people who like to watch the races, but not everybody is invested in the stats and the names and places and remember as much as you do. So how did that start?
Well, first of all, horse racing is a funny thing. Because for many years when I was a little kid in Barbados, and I watched my cousin, you know, he'll go to work and he was a groom, and he'll go out, and you know, I'll be sitting on a Friday night right on the step watching Gulfstream Park races with a bunch of other people there in Haynesville, right? And they'll be cheering for horses, everybody cheering for who they like and all that kind of stuff. I think Pat Day was back. He was the guy back then, and you know, you kind of watch it, but you don't really take it all in completely. But you remember, I remember. So, you know, coming to Canada, completely forgot about racing. Did all kinds of other stuff, and then living close to then many years fast forward and living close to the track, really just across the street from the track. One day, my friend Jay, he's like, you know, we should go and watch some races, and lo and behold, I'm across there, and just to burn off some steam and so forth, and then fall right into the trap of horse racing. You know, for many years, you know, we play horses, win and lose some, and you know, just remembering jockeys, trainers, you know, just remember all them stats, names, falling in love with watching horses that crossed the border from Canada, you know, horses that went to England, that was Tapping, that was way after. But, you know, jambalaya, you know, watching so many horses run and just falling in love with the sport all over again. And that's where it really started. And then before I met you, you know, I was doing a bit of writing on trying to handicap horse racing. And that was just for fun. Never really did much with that. And then you actually said, you know, maybe I should do a little bit more, go a little bit deeper with the horse racing. And that's really when I started to say, you know what? You think she's right. I should do a little bit more and see where this thing takes me. So this is where I am today, trying to do something, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's it.
And that's just the secret to happiness, right?
And that's just a short answer.
Maybe she's right.
That's the short answer.
So this trip, there have been a few trips now for horse racing. Which so far has been your
favorite?
Well, you know, coming back home last year was exciting, and you know, it had a little bit of momentum, a little bit of push behind it too. When we, you know, are linking up with Fun in the Sun with Darwin Clark and Derek Lynch, and, you know, and Rocco, you know, just that whole thing was a little bit of momentum. But for me, the trip going to Vancouver, I really enjoyed that because it was a different scenery. Smaller track, purses are small, but for me, it was just the scenery. And I'm all about presentation and all that kind of stuff. So it was like just watching the mountains, feeling a different atmosphere. You know, racing the track, after, you know, one day of watching racing at Hastings, you realize the track is not big. I guess some people could handicap races down there really well and whatever, but to me it was the excitement and the thrill of somewhere new, like brand new. I'd never been on the West Coast before, just like I've never been on the East Coast of Canada. So for me, that was really exciting, and that was something I take off the bucket list. So I think, you know, as we go on, we'll pick up some more. Like the other day, we almost made it to Gulfstream Park. We were like really right there, but you know, it just couldn't happen. And same thing with Tampa Bay Downs. But you know, that'll happen too. Yeah, so I think Hastings to me was really exciting. I mean, as silly as it sounds, but that one was really good for me, just to check off the list.
Well, I knew nothing about Hastings until that trip, and then I was really excited when we were watching this show that is supposed to be based in San Diego.
Oh, right. The TV show, yeah. Detective show or something?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, can't remember the name of it. Anyways, and our daughter and I, the middle daughter and I, were watching, and we were like, we know this place. We went to this place with Daddy. So we caught them. We figured out that they were shooting in Vancouver and not in San Diego because of Hastings Racetrack. So for this trip, what is it you hope for? What is it you want to accomplish?
This one, I want to bring a different perspective. So you're gonna be seeing me like going in different areas, and hopefully it work out. But I'm trying to get like leading up to the race, different views from people that you normally wouldn't hear about. People that don't work with horses, people who just regular people and what they have to say about
novices like me.
Exactly. I mean, like what I realized was when I was here last year, me and Rocco, we met a lot of people along the way as we were moving, right? And there were people like at gas stations, people on the street, that they all had their own input on horse racing. And just like today, I met these guys at the shop, and you know, they can tell me people who were attached to horses and guys who from the neighborhood who won derbies at the Garrison Savannah, you know, and they were, you know, stuff like that, just behind the scenes stuff that you normally wouldn't see. And you know, usually when I go to a racetrack, I'll meet like a trainer or someone who works with the horses, and they'll be ready for an interview, usually a minute or two. But this time I want to get more deep into conversation with other people, just to bring it out there to life and let people see what racing means to Barbados. You know what I mean? So for a lot of these guys, you see them on the street, is like a sport, and they're passionate about it. So that's what I want to bring.
Yeah, I think you should hit up some rum shops, because that's where all the men with all the opinions and all the spiciest arguments happen, at the rum shop, which is usually right across from a church.
Well, this is where it was today. And one little guy was cutting up weed, you know. So medicine. So, but you know, it was fun, you know, just to watch and listen to normal people, you know, have their points of views about different things, you know. So it was pretty cool.
So with this, what is something new and fresh you think viewers will be able to enjoy this time? Something that, you know, will pop?
Well, I think I want to, there's one or two people in Barbados that I keep hearing about, but I haven't met them yet.
and I don't have their direct contacts. You know, usually what I'm finding out are that these people are people who, you know, who are like legends in the neighborhood, but they never really made it out. So I'm hoping that I can meet one or two of those people who actually, you know, are kind of like what they call them, hood legends. You know what I mean? So, so those are the kind of people I'm hoping to run into. You know, people that have a lot of history, and a lot of people in the community who are behind them. And to be honest, like, you know, stuff like this might be big for them. So I'm hoping that this pops that way.
You know, a lot of YouTubers and people who've started building, I guess, these more public personas, there comes a point where they look back at their videos and they critique themselves like real hard, they cringe or whatever, or they look back and they're like, oh, that was so good, that was so cute. When you look back at your earliest videos, what's the big emotion you have? Are you like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that? Or you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that?
Well, so some of the videos I made when I first started wasn't really good. I'll be very honest. You know, I was really raw. You know, I got the creativity, but I didn't have the right tools. So when I look back, I was like, oh shoot, I could have done this here much better. I was like, I could have, you know, put the camera at a different angle. I could have asked a better question. You know, there's many things I critique myself about. But then, you know, as time go on, because it's been like 3 years now, what I realize is that I start to just forget it, put that behind me, and keep moving forward. Because, you know, that was then, and everyone or most people, when they do something and they're here today, they should go back and say, you know what, that was then. Now it's time to grow. So let's just keep moving. You know what I mean? So, you know, that was then.
Well, I may just be obnoxiously biased, but when I look back at your old videos, I'm usually just really proud that you stepped out to do it, because I know that you have been holding all this talent inside for a very long time. So I'm just happy you got started. And not that you asked, but I think you're like so much more comfortable in front of the camera now, just more relaxed, more yourself.
Yeah, I guess I'm a little bit relaxed now. Yeah, it's been many years just behind the scenes, just like my title says, you know, just behind the scenes in many different environments, watching many people put things together. You know, I can go back and tell you so much history that a lot of people don't even know about me. So I mean, like, you know, I've been in some circles that I was like, geez, I've been preparing props to make things happen in different areas, and just there watching and saying, you know, maybe one day I'll be doing something like that. But yeah, it's been a long time, and you know, we'll see where this thing goes. You know.
All right, well, my last question. Of all the things that you could have used as your moniker, why D-Man from Prospect?
Well, that's that's the start, because now it's D-Man for Truth. So now, remember, so first of all, my name is Derek, right? So people start calling me D, right? And then I said I add on D-Man, right? Because it kind of made sense. So a lot of people before this time knew me as D-Man. So they always approach me as D-Man. And even when I was working downtown Toronto, and people would just call me D or something along those lines, right? And that kind of stuck. D-Man from Prospect. Look, I was born in Prospect, St. James, right? And that's where the Prospect part comes. You know, we call paying homage to where I'm from. You know, I can't forget that's where I'm from, right? And no matter where I go or where I live, you know, that's always going to be home. I mean, I don't have a place there now, but it's always going to be home no matter what. So that's where it's going to be. And you know, my children, family will always know that that's where I'm from. There's a lot of people there that know me and know my family.
So that's my thing, like a tribute to Prospect. Always remember it, you know, a place that shaped me. Community first, right? I remember we would go many places together in groups, and we were really young, like under 16, right? And everywhere we go, we'll always make sure we stick together, you know, one for all for one. You know, no trouble, but that's how we used to move as we move on, right? So for me, that was a big part of my life in early stages. I mean, think about it now. I've lived in Toronto longer than I lived in Barbados. So, but I can't forget that. And it's a mix. It's a mixed reaction, because I'm always placed in a funny spot. Living in Barbados for just 16 years, and then moving to Canada and lived for over 30 years, right? So it's like I'm never completely Barbadian, never completely Canadian. So it's kind of like mixture, as you probably tell by me stumbling words, all kinds of stuff here and there, every now and then, accent all over the place, you know. So yeah, that's just how it is. But D-Man from Prospect, D-Man for truth.
Okay, well then, all right. Last question then. Tell people who are not Bajan what for troop means.
Well, if you're from Barbados, right? Mm-hmm. What do you mean?
The ones who are not, the ones who might just look at it and be trying to figure out how to pronounce it or whatever. Like, what does for troop mean if you're not Bajan? If
you're not Barbadian, for troop is just a thing we use all the time. So, if I come up to you now and I say, "Yo, somebody just breaking your car," you're like, "For truth." It just means for truth, you know, or for real, you know. But you know, that was a thing that we use a lot, and I'm always adding something from Barbados into my everyday life, or you know, things that I do just you know, out of respect. And I love doing stuff like that, because then it adds a bit of culture too. You know, that's what we're trying to do with the little one right now. You know, just adding some culture, and you know, and she probably grow up. It may stick or it may not stick, but we'll.
Well, she ain't got a choice. It can stick.
We'll see. Both of them.
Yeah, we got Bajan house no matter where we are. So yeah.
Yeah, cheese on bread.
Well, I like to see what you do, and I think you do it well, and you keep improving on it, and I'm proud to see where you've brought it from and where you're taking it. I'm just along for the journey, because the journey started with demand. Journey will always be based on demand.
Well, you know, it's always good to have a good woman behind a good man. So I respect that.
Yeah, respect, brother. Peace.
All right.
How do you turn it off?